And our guest this morning, Mr. Ken Okolugbo, public affairs analyst. He's reaching us remotely, and in studio here, Kabir Akingbolu. And we're looking at the threat of an impending strike by the 3rd of October by labor. And of course, at the moment, unless there's something we don't know, unless they have managed to vacate a subsisting order but have not really, it hasn't been made public yet, because even the letter that was written to labor through its counsel, Femi Falana, it was written earlier but only released yesterday. It only became public knowledge yesterday. So unless there's something we don't know, there still is, a subsisting court order in place, which the Attorney General, Minister of Justice has advised upon. And in any case, we've heard, going back to Ken now, Ken, there is patience. I think you've spoken about that. There's patience that is needed in this whole matter, but Labour is saying that it's not as, Labour is not unaware of all of that, but it is saying that it's still going on strike. Commentators have spoken about the need for patience. It's almost like it's a new wife, and you are protesting that the new wife must produce an offspring. Yes, indeed, they will, but there is a gestation period. You can't produce an offspring in, so to speak, 4-5 months. There must be a logical period, which is what the federal government has sort of sued for, that, look, guys, be patient. So much so that, look, we even take some of the problems away. We take the president as a, what is it? What is the word now? Implored the Attorney General to withdraw its suit so as to produce a more conducive environment for us to continue dialoguing on this matter. But Labour appears to be saying, we're tired of dialoguing. Can we have such a luxury, Ken, to be tired of dialoguing?
But when that court order was procured, there was no Minister of Labour. Now you have a Minister of Labour in place, and it behaves on the Minister of Labour to quickly start the dialoguing again before the 3rd of October. You can never get tired of dialoguing. It's jaw to jaw. You must understand ourselves. Now, the leadership organizations that were restricted was the TUC, the Trade Union Congress, and the Nigerian Labour Congress. Those are the two organizations which are the umbrella bodies of the labor union. What I expect the leadership to also do, more than the fact that we're saying they should have vacated the court order, is to also employ an understanding with the government, so the government can also withdraw its suits against them in the National Industrial Court. Then they can reach an agreement, because when they go on strike, it's the people that are going to still suffer. These same people you are trying to protect, these same people you are complaining of the hardship that they are facing, are going to suffer more, because we know the trillions of naira that are going to be lost when they shut down midnight of the 3rd of October, like they have said. A lot of funds are going to be lost in the health sector, in the manufacturing sector, in the transport sector, in the education sector, in all the sectors. We know the effect it's going to have. That might not necessarily bring the government on its knees. It will be a case of maybe when the two elephants are fighting, it's the grass that suffers. So Labour will look at it from a holistic point of view and agree that, okay, we can give this last negotiation one more chance, while we also impress it on the government to withdraw a suit against us, and we can come out with a workable agreement that Nigerians will be happy about. We can't go back to fuel subsidy. That is very clear now. The naira is already finding its level in the market forces, even though the naira is still going high. The president has also expressed his concern. Everybody has expressed their concern that naira is getting to 1,000 to $1. It's quite worrisome. And we are dealing with a mono economy, which is highly dependent on oil. And if you know what is happening now in the oil industry, it's being rumored that the Brent crude is going to be selling at $150, which is same as Bonny Light. If the Brent crude is selling at $150 and the Bonny Light will be selling at $150, you know the implications on the prices of petroleum products, which of course would also affect the price of petrol. So these are the measures that we think the governments must put in place when they are negotiating with Labour. We see that the National Assembly has done a fantastic job of clearing the governor of Central Bank and the 4 deputy governors so that they can start work immediately. because taking into cognizance of the fact that the economy is at a very critical period at this time where inflation is almost getting to 25%. All these are a fallout of what has happened in the last administration and other administrations. It wasn't like it was this administration that this whole thing spiraled into the present situation we have found ourselves. So Labour must also take that into consideration, because, like you rightly said, it's just 4 months into the life of this administration. It is too early to start judging them.
Indeed.
From that perspective.
Indeed. Thank you very much. And as Ken has just said, the economy is, in a delicate state. Everybody is concerned. Ken again said, well, unless it's gotten better, it was even at 1,050 to the dollar. None of this is good news at all. But embedded in all of this is that we need time. When we looked at, when we had an economic subject matter a couple of days ago, it was also said that the economy, the state it's in now, nobody is happy with it. It's going to get better, but it will not be an overnight affair. Our forward payments were woefully out of sync, in that regard. And there's no how this can help. And so the experts in Labour and TUC will no doubt know all of this.
Yeah.
So there's a sense in which Labour itself has to show that whatever be the case, this is Team Nigeria. This is not Team Pakistan one way or the other. Even though people are angry and are saying that the activities of Labour, the way they're conducting themselves, it makes it look as if they're an adjunct of a political party. I'm not too enthusiastic to join in that particular debate. One understands how it might look. But this is Nigeria more than anything else.
Well, let me tell you straight away that Labour has a right to go on strike, to mobilize its members to go on strike. And the argument from the school of thought of seeing whether it has political intonation and all that, we will not get anything out of that if we go that route. Now, but let me tell you, even, as we speak today, Labour is like they are the conscience of government. They are the one that pricks the government. Oh, you are not doing rightly. You are doing you are doing a bad thing. This is what people want. Because you see, now there's what they call petrodollar. Petrodollar is a concept in oil that was coined or made that was fabricated by the Americans because they are the largest consumers in those days and even up till now. So because of this, anywhere you trade in oil, it has to be $2. Even if Dangote or whoever starts their own refinery in Nigeria today, you still trade $2. And when dollar is increasing to 1,000, you know what that will mean.
Yeah. So
it makes the dollar to be the price of liter to be so expensive.
Indeed.
I can tell you that if the dollar could come down, the petrol that we are buying today, we could still buy for 300, for 200, even for less, if it is coming down, because there are market forces in this.
Thank you very much. There are market forces.
The forces but then we have gone past the era where few Nigerians who are maybe taking this subsidy money. The money we could use for infrastructural development since 2011 to date, 70 to 80% of our annual budgets have gone for recurrent expenditure. But with what has happened now, it may not be so. We will have enough money to pay for our debts. We will have enough money for infrastructural development and some other things. Educational standard will increase, and so on and so forth. But government should do something because people are suffering.
Indeed.
And there is
Ada,
human patience.
thank you for your patience, Ada. That's the kind of patience that we're imploring Labour to also have. Good morning, Ada in Jos.
Hello, it's Ada calling for Jos Plateau State. Yes. What I want to say here is that as much as I don't support Labour going on strike, because of the problem on ground, but the suffering is so much so that the federal government should not, be hiding under the list guys as there's a court order that has not been vacated. No responsible government waits for a problem to become an emergency before handling it, okay, you people that are there, your guests, including you, Yori, tell me what sacrifice those that are at their hand have made or are prepared to make. Just tell me one, just even one. They are not prepared to make anything. Okay, like you're talking about what is happening is beyond the forest of the poor now. Somebody like me in my category, if they flood the whole place with vehicles, we can park our cars, you understand? And start boarding those vehicles. It's even an advantage to, especially places like Lagos and the rest of them that have traffic jam. Port Harcourt, Abuja. It will make fewer cars to go on the road because many people will be interested in buying those vehicles that will be cheaper. And then it's not fair to say that the state governors, someone is doing much. Like Soludo, he has offered a free scholarship, from nursery school to JS3, and then 5,000 naira education support for any student that is in the senior secondary in Anambra State in a public school. And one thing I like about him is that we're talking about one Nigeria, where we should do our independence. He's one man that did not discriminate, irrespective of your religion, irrespective of your state. Once you're in a public school there, your parents are there, they are paying tax to that state. They are not discriminating, but some governors have introduced it.
Well, thank you very much, Ada, for calling in. And again, coming back to you, again, I understand that you are also pressured for time, but you had to fit us in. So thank you very much for that. Maybe putting the last question to you is that Labour, there is time. Do you think that there is time between now and that third for this to still be averted? Because it's going to just require, reasonable minds to come together, reasonable NLC mind, reasonable federal government mind to come together on this issue. Because the last thing we need right now is a strike. As I was telling you about, Nupeng reportedly saying that the drivers and the whole chain should also join in this strike.
Oh, there's ample time. If you take a cue from what the National Assembly just did in the screening of the CBN governor and the four governors, you can see that they broke their normal. They went into a committee of the whole. The Senate president sat as the committee chairman. They did thorough screening as far as I was concerned, and they went ahead and even went on a break, came back again and had plenary after 7 o'clock in the night, just to ensure that they confirmed the CBN governor, so that the CBN governor will have all the rights now to act in that capacity. The National Assembly were taking into cognizance of the fact that the economic situation we are in we're in a dire situation. So the Minister of Labour should take a cue from what the National Assembly did. He doesn't only have time, he has more than enough time. He has to call the leadership of the NLC and the TUC immediately now, even if it means meeting to the wee hours of today, up until Saturday, even if it means till Sunday, but they need to come out with a workable agreement. And he must also maybe commit to vacating the court order or applying for the court order to be withdrawn. These negotiations has to be done with the Attorney General, who is a very important party in this matter right now. It's not only going to be done by the Minister of Labour. The Attorney General will also join him, and a workable agreement will be reached so that Labour can call off this strike before the 3rd of October. You already know that 2nd of October is a public holiday, so that is already 1 day off in the calendar. So you can imagine by the time we now wake up on Tuesday when we're supposed to all be going back to work, we now start sitting back at home. Thank you so much for having me.
We really appreciate you, Ken. Thank you very much for being on the program today. And, now back to our guest in studio, Kabir Akingbolu. It has been stated that guys, talking about the executive now, things are tough. The president was speaking this way on his recent trips, that things are tough. He feels the pain. Every Nigerian feels the pain. But there's no going back on subsidy, this fuel subsidy removal. Very well. Because it's like we have to factor that in, that whatever the work is, it seems that they have determined that, without wanting to be wicked, sometimes they say, I think they say that a doctor has to be wicked to be kind, in the sense that sometimes the procedure is not going to be the most palatable, but you will be relieved in the fullness of time. That seems to be the very simplistic way to understand what we have on our hands here. There's no going back on this fuel subsidy thing.
The earlier we understand that, the better for us. However, you see, even the Bible said a delayed hope sickens the mind. Now, there are some other things. Maybe the government is misplacing some priorities. Maybe they are concentrating on some other things. There are some local remedies that could be that are readily available. Uncle Yori, a situation whereby one piece of orange is sold for 100 naira in a country that we are.
That's a
The
problem.
way a gari is sold for 600
That's a
naira,
problem.
a bag of rice for 55,000, 60,000, and you want people to be singing and dancing. It's not possible. There are ways you could get a commodity, establishment board where they can deal in all those. Even under the military in those days, there was what they call NNDC, Nigerian National Supply Company. They make things to be cheap because when they knew that the captains of the industries are making things to be too expensive, they established a kind of rival, organization. We could do this. Then there could be price monitoring or regulatory agency where they can say, so things should not be more than this. These are what government should do. Leave the issue of a dollar first. The things we produce locally, where are they so expensive? People say, oh, we should go to farm, we should do local rice. Local rice is more expensive in eateries and, but mama put.
Yes.
So why? The one we produce by ourselves. Why is garri expensive? Why is plantain expensive? Why is banana expensive?
Everything is expensive.
Everything, even water. Pure water or sachet water, you know how much they sell it? Bottled water, you know how much they sell it? These are the first things that government should first attack. There are ways you can do this, that the price will come down even before the dollar comes down, because we operate an importing economy. We don't export anything.
Sunny, thank you for calling in from Benin in Edo State. Good morning.
Thank you very much, sir.
Go ahead, please.
Okay, I want to join millions of Nigerians to say that of a truth, the suffering is actually high, but not this one that laborers are doing. Let me give you a scenario from Benin. I've been on the neck of the labor in Edo State. Why do I have to say so? Your guest now just said that local rice is more expensive than foreign rice. In mission of yesterday in Benin City, I went to price one of the local rice. It's 57,000. After they told me, they agreed that they will give me for 55. When I came back, they said it was 57, that they increased money. And that's local rice. Because of advert, I will not want to call the name of those rice. Now, you find out that in Edo State, for 2 years, there was no election for local government. What did the Labour Party, what did the NSC in Edo State, what did they do? When there was no resources in Nigeria, when they were talking about the issue of cash, there was no one in Nigeria, in Edo State. What did Labour do? And do you know that the current Labour chairman, NSC chairman in Edo State, is a card-carrying member of PDP? Do you think such man will support the policy of other political party when the party lost at the poll? So these are the issues that before you can go to equity, I think that their hands should be clean. But that's not to say that the pain is not there. I would have even expected that the labor should have been saying, okay, since even though you are not new in politics, but this is your administration, what is the timeline? If you give you 6 months, if we give you 4 months, would that be enough for you now to put structures on ground for us to look at? You just say you want to grant the nation. Are you truly fighting for the people? Because the people are already suffering right now. If you not grant the nation, will the other Nigeria that you are fighting for, will their life be better? I think that's all labor should want, because this labor that fly plane that don't go by road, this labor that belongs to political party, I can't trust this kind of labor. But that's not to say that the federal government should not do anything to see how they can eliminate the suffering that Nigerians are going through. You understand what I'm trying to make?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Sunny, for calling in. And he hits it, really. He hits the issue. And that's why I didn't want us to I wanted us to try and keep it as much as possible a labor matter. But sometimes labor and politics intertwine themselves. Political parties have been mentioned this morning, even though it's a strictly labor affair. The Labour Party has been mentioned. PDP has been mentioned. These are parties that are known to be opposition, but we sort of try to emphasize that, look, it's not, for this time we're talking about, it's not about politics.
It's about doing the right thing.
Yes. It's about, thank you. It's about doing the right thing.
Earlier on the program, we observed that.
Sorry, sir. The point has been made that Labour, I think it was Mr. George who started off by saying that Labour has not interrogated the states first. Look, all that is available, what have you done? How efficient have we been? What can be done further? That is not to say that the federal government can, bring out its easy chair and relax. No, that's not what we're saying. But why are you aiming for the center? Why are you aiming for the center and not exploring other options?
Interestingly, Labour and relatives, they all have branches in all the states of the Federation, including the FCT. So this makes it easy for them to be able to achieve some things if they want to.
If they want to.
If they want to. Because you see, I believe like there are a lot of roles to be played by Labour Party. Like we have weekend, Saturday and Sunday today as resting days. It wasn't like that. In those days, you walk through your nose, you know, the plantation workers and so on and so forth. But in around towards the end of 18th century, was when we started having, you know, Saturday and Sunday as resting day because of labor activities. Those are the kind. We want you to fight for your members. We want you to fight for Nigeria. We want you to fight for good governance, you know, probity and accountability. But in the right way, government too should not sleep. They should find some other alternatives. If you have, you know, apply one method and it's not working, apply another one that can be faster.
But we have to be exhaustive.
But we have to be exhaustive, but then we have to be patient. And like your Bible will say that patient cannot be too much. It may not be enough, but it can never be too much. And no good things has ever been achieved through, you know, force. Yes. You know, you do, I think, patience, understanding, negotiation, facilitation of issues, and so on and so forth, you arrive at the corner course.
Because we have to be careful here, because being theoretical now, personally, me just being theoretical, if it was to be said, and it could never be said, not given what the president has already said, that, okay, you know what, we suspend the removal of petrol, and then they will say, okay, okay, let's go back. Now, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. So, it's not going to happen. Well, that's not going to happen.
We have moved away from that regime of subsidy payment and all that.
We've left that station.
We have left that station at all, you know, long ago. However, but federal government should now, and even federal government should also have a kind of maybe advisory board or whatever to look at how these state governments are spending this 5 billion naira of a thing. Because when you say palliative, I am not one of the people that supports that. You know, if you give palliative and say 5 billion naira, use it for education, we will see what has happened there. Use it for agriculture, we will see what has happened there. But a situation whereby you package a bag of rice of that cannot feed a three-member family. You know, this family member, you are saying is palliative. You cannot work because if you feed me this morning, are you going to feed me tomorrow? And the way it is, most of the time, these things are done by political affiliation. An ABGA control state will want to give its members first. They will say, write down the name from ward and all that. These are what Labour should look at and say, are you giving it to your members or you are giving it to Nigerians? You understand? I understand the state that are paying 10,000. That is commendable enough. But even if that money had been converted to cash and given to workers, it would have been better. It would serve a better purpose than all this rice and grains and all that. It's like insulting the sensibilities of Nigerians. It's not only food that is our problem.
I think I like, I think, was it Ken Okolugbo who had said that we really now have to review what has been done, how effective it has been.
Exactly.
That which has been done. Can better efficiency be introduced
exactly.
into it?
There could be suggestions to federal government.
Exactly.
And so on and so forth. And, this can be done by Labour, and not only strike.
Yes. So Labour is probably well advised to, rather than stop the entire country, there's still a lot that Labour can be prevailed upon to consider as well. But I guess that's where we're going to have to.
They should see the problem as a national problem and not the problem of Labour leaders or that they want to prove a point.
Or winning.
It
is Nigeria that must win.
That must win.
You know, this is not about Labour winning,
it's not a matter
the federal
of wins.
government winning. No. It's about Nigeria must win.
Yes, it shouldn't be subjected to the whims and caprices of anybody.
Indeed.
Without any ifs and buts, once there is a court order anywhere in the world, it must remain. It remains valid and subsisting. We should praise the Attorney General, and I also pray Mr. Farhan too. I believe he will do the needful and advise his clients very well to ensure that
the law is the law.
Or probably he may need to educate them.
Okay.
You know.
No.
Let them know.
Let's not patronize Labour.
Yes,
those guys are knowledgeable.
Yeah.
Those guys, they have experts in there.
They have been in the field for a long time.
Yes.
They want to just be mischievous because he has to tell them, come. Yes, we want to go on strike over as it is. With what was on ground, we can't go on strike. Let us wait a bit.
We've got to wrap it up here. I want to thank you very much.
It's a pleasure
Kabir Akingbolu, constitutional lawyer and public affairs analyst, and also Ken Okolugbo, who joined us for part of the time Thank you very much to you both, gentlemen. That's our program today. Please join us on Monday for a fresh edition. I am Iyori Folare. Bye-bye for now.